If consciousness appears immediately, rather than being constructed moment by moment, then time can't be doing the work we usually assume it to be doing. That idea alone is a lot to take in. Time is usually treated as the universal explanation for how things become what they are. Change happens in time. Causation unfolds in time. Processes take time. So if consciousness, structure, and meaning can resolve without being built up over time, then there must be a deeper question about what time is actually doing. The default assumption is that time is a fundamental dimension of reality, something that exists independently, flowing forward, carrying events with it. Physics treats it like a coordinate. Psychology treats it as felt passage. Everyday intuition treats it as obvious and unavoidable. But those views all assume that time is primary and everything else happens within it. This model is going to flip that relationship. Instead of time generating structure, structure determines time. Rather than events unfolding because time moves forward, time emerges as a bookkeeping tool for resolving constraints. Think about how we actually experience time. We do not experience it directly, we experience change, memory, anticipation, ordering. Remove memory and anticipation, and everything would collapse to a continuous now. This is not some philosophical trick. You can meditate and find this. You can just pay very close attention in a lot of ways and discover it's an empirical observation. Without memory, there is no experienced past. Without expectation, there is no experienced future. What remains is a present that doesn't feel like it's moving whatsoever. This suggests something important. Time may not be a thing flowing through reality. It's just a description we use to organize resolved states. In this model, reality doesn't evolve step by step from the past into the future. Global constraints determine which configurations are allowed, and what we call time is the sequence we infer when we observe those configurations locally. This is why time behaves strangely in physics. Relativity already tells us that time is not absolute. Different observers experience different durations. Simultaneity breaks down. Past and future are not universally agreed upon. Quantum mechanics pushes even harder than that by showing us that systems don't have definite histories until they're measured. Correlations can ignore temporal ordering, and outcomes can't be explained by local causes unfolding over time. Rather than treating all of that as paradoxes, this model treats them as clues. If time were fundamental, those behaviors would be deeply mysterious. If time is emergent, they're actually expected. In an emergent time view, the universe is not a story being written one line at a time. It's a globally consistent structure, and what we perceive as temporal flow is our local relationship to that structure. This also explains why causation often feels reversed or unclear at fundamental levels. We assume causes precede effects because that's how time feels to us. But if time itself is derived from constraint satisfaction, then causation is not something that pushes events forward. It's something that we infer after the fact once the patterns are stable. The future doesn't come into being, it is selected. The past doesn't force the present, it constrains it. This isn't trying to say that time is an illusion. It's real, like how a shadow is, that it's dependent on structure, perspective, and illumination. For conscious systems like us, time flowing feels fundamental because the way memory accumulates is asymmetrical. We remember past states but not future ones. That asymmetry creates directionality. but directionality is not the same thing as flow. A river flows, a map does not. In this model, time is more like a map than a river. And this is the reframing that removes a number of the long-standing puzzles, like why does the universe appear finely tuned from the start? Why do physical laws seem globally consistent rather than locally negotiated? Why does consciousness feel immediately present rather than gradually assembled? The model says that this is all because the universe is not built moment to moment from the past. It is constrained all at once, and local observers interpret that constraint sequentially. So, a quick recap. If this model is wrong and time is fundamental as we usually think, then truly instantaneous resolution should be impossible. Consciousness would need to build gradually. Causation would always be local, and correlations would weaken with distance or delay. However, if time is emergent, like the model suggests, then we should continue to find phenomena where global consistency supersedes temporal explanation, not just in physics, but in perception as well. If time is not the foundation we thought it was, then many of the most difficult problems may be challenging for the wrong reasons. This could show how some of our most reliable intuitions may turn out to be fundamentally inaccurate. In the following videos, we will touch on specific philosophy of physics and cosmology problems like the nature of measurements, wave-particle duality, and the beginning of the universe. As we continue, try to keep in mind the question of whether time behaves like a driver of reality or like a derived description layer on top of something deeper.